What's our secret sauce, Craig? What are we trying to do here?
I mean, we're trying to make stories that awaken wonder. I think we're trying to make stories that make you long for places you've never been, that point to your heavenly home, that point to the ultimate truth of the gospel. That make
Odd School Studios, the thoughts, the process, the work. This is our inner world.
What's up, everybody? Greg and I have been talking a lot lately, and we think we need to really be more vulnerable with you all. We need to tell our story a little bit better. And there's no better way to do that than to go all the way back to when we first started this. Greg and I is no shock that we're both huge superhero fans. We love comics, we love movies. And kind of with that, when you read a lot of the stories, you start to become a little delusional and starting to believe like, oh, maybe I'm this hero's journey. So when we started this process of making comics, I think Greg and I both really believed that we would be incredibly successful by now. And the reality is that is not the case. But through that failure, we kind of have entered this space and created Odd School Studios, and it feels like it's something that is kind of makes all of that stuff before not feel like failure, more as practice that has led us to like this thing that we're creating now. And this is our start to try to explain what we see Odd School as being and how we expect it to get to our audience, which is you all.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we've done up to this point has been learning experience, and I think we have every step of the way, whether it has been an outright failure, a story that's never seen the light of day, a story that did see the light of day and just didn't quite reach the audience that we thought it would, has been a huge learning opportunity. I think both of us came into making comics together thinking we were going to get picked up by Image or picked up by Boom or picked up by Dark Horse, one of the indie developers, one of the indie publishers, and I think it just never happened. We thought we were the secret sauce, and I think exactly what you said. I think we were just delusional enough, but I think we need that delusion to start, because I think if we hadn't had that delusion, we never would have taken the leap and started. I think we both would have been way too scared to put ourselves out there, because we were just talking before this in making comics, making any art is such a vulnerable act. It's like you're taking a knife and you're slicing open your heart and you're putting it on display and you're saying, go ahead, judge me.
Yeah. But when you say secret sauce, we definitely have a secret sauce. I think we found it a little bit. You should explain what's our secret sauce, Greg? What are we trying to do here?
I mean, we're trying to make stories that awaken wonder. I think we're trying to make stories that make you long for places you've never been, that point to your heavenly home, that point to the ultimate truth of the gospel, that make you believe again, whether or not you're somebody who comes from a faith background or not, that makes you sit and ask hard questions. And we talk a lot about junk food comics and junk food media, and there's nothing wrong with junk food media. It's super fun. You love a good summer blockbuster, but we need more stories and more comics especially that make you ask the hard questions.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we were looking at this through this journey of just trying to make comics. And one thing that really stood out to us is why comics? For two main reasons. A, it is one of the best mediums to kind of reach people nowadays because it is so visually bent that it can kind of capture your attention really quickly and hold you unlike a book will, but it still has that literature tones to it. Odd School Studios is developed and made specifically looking at the overall industry and be like, comics started at a place where they were made for kids, but now it's like really far from that. And the good stories, the ones that we are still reading, we would never want a younger kid to read those stories. And it kind of like got us asking these questions: why are those stories like no longer portrayed for kids? Like, what has been lost and what has been forgotten? And there's like those two truths, and they kind of started circling around this overall arching idea. It's like, but wait, who are like some of the best children's storytellers ever to live? And the two names that came to us were Lewis and Tolkien. And what both of those writers and creators had in common is they were deep believers in Jesus Christ, and they made stories that reflected his light. And yeah, they did it in different ways C.S. Lewis was a little more upfront, and Tolkien was a little more like it was in the weeds, and you like had to dig through it. But they both were creating these beautifully woven worlds that were so deep with meaning and purpose. They kind of just want to sit and bask in that. We're like, wait, why don't we take this and just throw it into this comic medium? And we're just gonna like bring these two worlds of comics that right now are not making stuff for kids, and this literature that's like kind of a dying art for kids in some ways too. Like Tolkien and Lewis, like those guys aren't. There's not a lot of people creating literature like that for kids anymore. And like, let's bring it together and let's tell these really epic fictional stories in a super strong visual medium, and kind of like our cheat. We're gonna cheat these kids and kind of meet them where they're already at, because they're already consuming so much visual medium, and graphic novels is not a long stretch from what they're already consuming.
Yeah, so we've got a series of videos that we're going to be putting out in the next, I guess, few weeks here that we're going to cover the topics of why us, why now, and why comics, and tackle why Odd School has a secret sauce for why this is the perfect time for what we're doing. So I hope you guys will all tune in, but that's a story for another time.